This is Youth Work, a podcast about youth workers delving into their journey of how they got into youth work.
Hello and welcome to This is Youth Work, the podcast delving into the lives of youth workers, their experiences of how they got into youth work, and some of the day-to-day work that they do with young people. Today's guest is Danielle Webb, but before we go on to the podcast, just a bit of a plea. We're looking for people who can take part in the podcast from North Wales and those who can do the podcast within the medium of Welsh language. So if that's you, please get in touch by emailing ets@wlga.gov.uk or comment on any social media feed and one of us will pick it up. Today we have a special guest. We have Danielle from Urban Circle.
Hi.
So, Danielle, share us your experience of how you got into youth work and how it all started. You know, where did the hook come from? And
what, way back when?
Way back,
Way
go as
back
far
at the
back. So, like,
start?
if it's when you were a young person, or you know, how your first interaction with youth work,
Okay.
and when you got the bug for it, and when you got excited about it.
Okay, so I'm not from Wales.
Yeah.
I grew up in a town outside of Bristol called Portishead.
You can slightly tell.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not a Welsh gal, maybe at heart, but
Yeah.
not in nature. Yeah, so I grew up in Portishead, and I was a service user at Portishead Youth Centre.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it there as a young person. You know, it was kind of what you did. Like, you're going to school. Who's going to youth club tonight?
Yeah.
And that was where I spent a lot of, especially my later secondary school years. And then I started volunteering there. So I knew I wanted to work with children.
Yeah.
I always wanted to work with children. So I went on to do my children's play learning and development diploma in college.
Yeah.
And got a position at the youth centre helping out on a Saturday.
Nice.
Just literally volunteering,
Yeah.
helping with their events and their community work. It was great. And from there, literally worked my way up. So
Oh wow.
I started as your typical Saturday girl.
Yeah.
Then I started doing the holiday clubs
Yeah.
with the young people. Then I did the junior youth clubs and became a play worker. And then I knew that I wanted to be a youth worker. Basically from that moment after I finished college.
Yeah.
I was like, I love working with children, but actually what I want to do is support young people. That's the age group that I want to be in. So I applied for the University of South Wales.
Wow.
To do my...
Was that your closest degree as well?
Yep, to do my degree. There was a few others, so I had interviews at Bath Spa,
Right.
Birmingham, Sussex, and then USW.
Yeah.
And I can't describe it, but I clicked with USW. It was...
Really?
Yeah, I'd never been to Newport before. I'd never come, you know, I've been to Cardiff. I think everyone's been to Cardiff, but I'd never been to Newport before, apart from actually to get my passport.
Everyone comes to Newport for their passport.
But that is it. You know, I didn't know of the USW. I didn't have any experience. I never grew up thinking that's the university I wanted to go at. I literally was looking for a youth work degree, and back then, I probably wanted to stay closer to home.
Yeah.
I was a home girl.
Yeah.
But actually, the degree captured me, and I knew I wanted to come here.
Oh wow.
So I came here. I started here in 2017.
Like a different country as well, isn't it?
Yep.
Literally, like going to a different country.
Yep. Across the waters.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I actually commuted for 2 years.
Well, from Portishead.
Yes. So 6 a.m.
Oh.
train stations, commutes, because I stayed in the role that I was in. I stayed growing at the youth centre. That was my work placement for 2 years.
Yeah.
And I think coming to Wales to study was enough change at that point in my life as a young person.
Yeah.
Because I came to university at the youngest age that you can come at. So I was a young...
Really?
Yeah, I went straight from school into college, into university. So I was still a young person myself.
Yeah.
So I very much stayed in my home comforts. and had every intention of staying in my home comforts
Yeah.
until I went to a theatre production in 2019
Yeah.
and met Urban Circle
Yay.
and G Expressions.
Yeah.
And it was the Hard Knock Life production.
Yeah.
Their production back in 2019. I took my dance group to see them.
Really?
And we danced as part of that show. We opened that show
Wow.
in the foyer.
Yeah.
And I remember after that show, my tutors, Mick and Kate,
Yes.
were like, I've got to introduce you to this team. You know, you've got to come see this show. This was before the show. You've got to come see this show. You've got to bring your dancers.
Yeah.
You've got to see what this organisation is about. You've got
That's
to meet.
so good they've done that.
You've got to meet Lorraine.
Yeah.
You've got to meet Nyla. You've got to come see everything that you do. These guys are doing that.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Any opportunity, you know, as youth workers, we want to give our young people opportunities.
Yeah.
So, brilliant. My dancers got involved. I facilitated. We watched the show. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just taken aback by it all?
Just taken aback by it. Just taken aback by
Yeah.
As a dancer myself.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness. Like, So, Fast Track the year before,
Yeah.
I had put on a theatre show myself.
Yeah.
And unbeknown to me, Urban Circle were in the audience.
Really?
Because they had come with their young people as their enrichment.
That's amazing.
So from
Small world though, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So October 2019, Mick brought Urban Circle to my show. I was none the wiser.
Big up, Mick.
Big up, Mick.
Yeah.
He
Mick Conroy.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he did,
knew
yeah.
what he was doing. So October 2018, he brought Loren, Nyla, some of the young people to my show
Yeah.
in preparation for their show.
That's so good.
Mick then says to me, look, they loved your show. You need to get involved. You need to take your dancers there.
Yeah.
I took my dancers there.
Yeah.
I still wasn't. Mick was the middleman by this point. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
were crossing communications, but we weren't necessarily working. I knew them. I saw them here.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a case of knowing exactly what they did. I just knew that they were alumni of the university and were students here. So go back to the February, and I'm in the audience of this show, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And I remember turning to my supervisor at the time, and I don't know how deeply I meant it, but looking back now, I was like, no, you know what, I did mean it. I looked at her, I was like, I want to work with these guys.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Just decided that they look the part.
Yeah,
I want to go there.
Just being in the audience, being a dancer, being a youth worker.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to be part of this.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew how or when or.
You just knew you wanted to be.
I just
like
knew
this, yeah.
that what was in front of me, I wanted to be a part of.
Really?
And so after that, I kind of got to know the team on more of a professional, but like we were interacting. I went to them like for advice when, as students, you know, they became part of my development.
Yeah.
And they started becoming role models, I guess you would call them, in the sense of they were doing everything that I was aspiring to do with my project. And then it got to third year. Yeah. And I was like, I can't travel from Bristol to Wales.
It's a lot as well, isn't it?
To do my dissertation.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't. I had to. I'm very much I give 100% or I give nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted. I never thought I was going to do a degree. Yeah. I never thought I was going to travel to Wales. So if I was going to do it, I wanted to do it properly.
Yeah.
So I remember telling my tutors that I was moving, and they helped me get set up with student accommodation and
here in Newport.
Yeah, here in Newport, just down on the river.
Yeah.
And then obviously came the realization that I was leaving my youth provision.
Yeah.
So the youth provision that I had worked in and was my placement and I had grown in, leaving home meant leaving that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what do I want to do? And I remember Mick saying, what do you want to, like, where can we look to find you a placement?
Yeah.
Where do you want to go? And I just said, G Expressions.
Yeah. So G Expressions is part of Urban
Yeah,
Circle,
so
yeah.
G Expressions at the time was the dance element of Urban Circle. They were sister organisations.
Yeah.
And I just remember saying G Expressions.
G Expressions.
And that was the only answer I could give him.
Yeah.
And he was like, we need to also find you a backup. And I was like, I don't have a backup.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have a backup. I want to work with this organisation.
Yeah.
But naturally, as youth workers, I had to find backups. I had to find options. And at the time of actually preparing to move, we weren't sure if Urban had anything for me. You know, there wasn't necessarily a role that I could take or could apply for or whatever. So naturally, you go for your interviews and you go for your backups. And I did have backups.
Yeah, yeah.
And I moved here on the 11th of October.
Yeah.
13th of October, Lorraine Henry, who's the CEO of Urban Circle.
Big up, Lorraine.
Love Lorraine. Yeah. She comes to find me and she says, I want to give you a student placement.
Wicked.
I want to get you on board.
Yeah.
I want you to be part of our team. I want to welcome you into to Urban Circle. And I was like, oh wow. And I don't think even then she knew how big a thing that was for me.
How
do you know what I mean?
important,
Because it was like, I think that was my goal, to be part of.
Yeah. Did it seem like a dream come true almost?
It was. Yeah. It was like, okay, this is actually something that I can do. And for someone who you aspire to and look up to and hear such amazing things from, to say, I want to take a chance on you.
Yeah.
I want you to come into my space and show me what you've got. That's a huge thing for
massive,
that's a huge thing when you welcome someone into your organisation. And I think because I wasn't half as confident then as I am now.
Yeah.
I was a different youth worker then.
Really?
I didn't have the confidence or self-belief. So for someone to say, I want to give you a shot, was huge. So I was thinking, okay, 9 months, brilliant. I've got 9 months in this space. I'm going to learn, I'm going to grow, I'm going to take all of this. I'm going to be a sponge. Take all of this that Urban Circle have back home. Yeah. This was October. By December the 15th of the same year.
I can't believe you remember all the dates, mine. That's really impressive.
To be fair, dates are my thing. I don't know how, I don't know why, but they always have been. So that was the October. By December the 15th, I'd phoned home and told them to let my job go.
Really?
Because I knew I wasn't going back.
You just knew this was me. I've got to stay here.
I just knew it. And I'll tell you what made me know it is we were in a business meeting. Yeah. So, Urban Circle is a fast-paced organisation. Yeah. It's a very fast-paced organisation. And to be a student in a fast-paced organisation, you can either see it as a burden or you can see it as a blessing. Yeah. I very much saw it as a blessing because by month 2, I had done events, done promo films, assisted on courses. Yeah. I had all the opportunities that youth workers wish for. Yeah, yeah. So, and one of those were business meetings. The organisation had just started their business development. Yeah. And I was in their business meeting. And we were doing this timeline of where we wanted our projects to go. Yeah. And obviously my project was due to end in 9 months. I only had 9 months here. Yeah. And I remember just filling it out. And when it came to my time to present back, I was like, well, I don't really... Yeah. I don't really know. And I looked at Lorraine and she said to me, as far as I'm concerned, you're here. Wow. Until you decide otherwise. And from that, I kid you not, that day I knew. Yeah. Because I wanted to be part of what they were doing. I wanted to be part of their journey. I didn't want to leave in 6 months' time. Yeah. I wanted to play my part in that timeline. I wanted to play my part in building what they were creating.
It's like the stars of a line for you, isn't it? Because you left home, you come to a different place to do university. You seen what you wanted. You sort of took a chance, and it all seemed to have worked out, really.
It did.
In that respect, yeah.
Yeah, and I look back now and I'm like, I was so close to having a completely different,
Yeah.
like, life, like, career,
Yeah,
you know? And ultimately, yes, taking a different university or whatever would have, of course it would have completely changed my life. We wouldn't be sat here now.
Yeah.
But I literally took a chance.
Yeah.
I took a chance and said I want to push myself out my comfort zone to go to Wales.
Yeah.
And I've been here 5 years.
5 years?
5 years. So I was a lockdown graduate originally, doing my Bachelor of Arts. I stayed and did my Masters straight after.
Straight away?
In lockdown.
Part of USW as well, yeah.
So University of South Wales.
Yeah.
My Masters for Work with Children and Young People, I graduated in 2022.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm in my 4th year of employment with Urban Circle now.
4th year?
4th year of employment.
Yeah. Wow. What a journey. That sounds really... when you hear that, I can't believe you squeezed that in. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, and it's one of my, like, favourite stories to tell young people.
Is it?
Because I literally took a chance.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you deep it, university was something I was really hesitant to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was something that I was really hesitant to...
What's DP?
Like, when you go into it, like, when you unpick it...
Yeah, yeah.
It's like... Yeah, I was so close to not coming.
You did?
I was so close to not coming and not giving myself the opportunity to...
So that's one decision that could have changed the course of your life, your career.
Yeah, it would have changed everything. And that's why I say to young people now, just try.
Yeah. Do you think there's an element of bravery in that? You thought, you know what, I'm going to make a brave decision.
I think
it's
so.
quite scary, but I'm going to do this.
I think it definitely... That, to be fair, the whole journey, even speaking out the journey now, it's like, there were a lot of moments that, you know, I had to learn to be away from home.
Yeah.
I was away from home in lockdown.
Yeah.
So when we
tough.
When we hit lockdown, I was here.
Yeah.
In Wales, and obviously we weren't delivering, so, you know, I had my team on Zoom.
Yeah.
Every day doing our team check-ins and our team meetings. But we weren't here. We weren't. So I had to make the decision to stand by myself, to finish my degree and to finish what I wanted to do.
That must have been quite a lonely place, because obviously we were all under strict house sort of rules, weren't we, really? Yeah,
it was. I spent 9 months, 8 months isolated here. Wow. And then when the borders opened, I went back home. Yeah. And then came back here when we went to more hybrid working.
Yeah.
But yeah, I spent a huge amount of time kind of away, and it did come with its sacrifices.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. You know, it's at 18, how old was I? 18 when I made the decision to come to USW.
Yeah.
20 when I moved here.
Yeah.
And joined Urban.
Yeah.
I was a young person.
Yeah.
I was very much a young person.
Yeah.
But I was facilitated and supported by one of the best team of youth workers. I know I'm biased.
Well,
but they
are. They are good. Legends, all of them.
You know, I had the best support, and I think being a product of good youth work makes me love this job more. Yeah. Because I wouldn't be the person I was without growing up at Portshead Youth Centre. Yeah. I wouldn't be the professional and the person I am without my team at Urban Circle. Yeah. So that makes me want to be that person for young people.
What makes Urban Circle so good? You say that they're a really supportive team. They're so, you know, they're good. You love your team. Is it that the CEO, if she created a culture that's just really good? Is it that the way you offer youth works, the way she sort of manages staff, is very... What is it?
What makes Urban Circle good?
Yeah.
What
about its culture? What's the culture like?
it's the best place to work.
Yeah.
You're learning every single day.
Yeah.
And I go back to being a student.
Yeah.
I had opportunities that students could only dream of having.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I worked on projects that were life-changing for community members. You know, by my end of my second week, I'd done a young person's event. I'd facilitated young people getting their dance leaders qualifications. This was week 2 of my placement.
That's normally year 2 of someone's qualification.
No, this is week 2. You know, by month 2, I was in business meetings.
Yeah.
I was learning on the job.
Yeah.
And I haven't stopped learning since.
Yeah.
And I think for me, because I grew up with a disability.
Yeah.
And I grew up obviously having dwarfism.
Yeah.
Urban just was like, yeah, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
So I mean, all those things that I probably grew up thinking, I don't like, are young people going to respect me?
Yeah.
Am I going to be a good youth worker? Am I going to be able to do that? Am I going to be able to deliver this? So the projects I'm doing, like, am I going to be able to be a dance tutor? Am I going to be able to do big sellout shows?
Yeah.
Urban just goes, why not?
Yeah.
And I think for me, personally, that's what makes Urban so great.
Okay.
Is because we'll make it work.
Yeah.
We'll find a way. And
very solution focused then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I suppose it's very like equitable as well in their delivery. So I know Urban Circle, their sort of main strength is, you know, their equality and diversity, the way they, you know, I suppose the clientele they have, the young people that come into Urban Circle. You're based within a university, and I know I spoke to Lorraine before, and she said that sort of opens doors to those who potentially university might not have even been on their mind at all, but actually to step through the front doors, it's a massive, massive step, isn't it?
It's huge. It's huge, especially to young people who do come from disadvantaged backgrounds or have the barriers such as race or culture, ethnicity, diversity, disability. Like, Urban makes what a lot of young people think is impossible possible.
Yeah.
And I can say that confidently because I was one of their young people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I can say it with such confidence and with such oomph and with such heart. It's because it's not a cockiness. It's a literal, I am a product of that.
Yeah, it's happened.
Because that's what they did for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's, Urban meets every young person where they are.
Yeah.
On their journey, on their time. I took my professional journey in my time, the way that I shaped the path that I wanted to be at.
Yeah.
So it's just the best, most rewarding job I could envision having.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward time now, you had a really eventful journey from the moment of leaving Bristol, Portishead, coming to Newport. So give us a sense of what you do now. What's your new? So you've got a new role in Urban, and it's big sort of step. What is it that you have to do?
So I am. I say the newly official. Impact and evaluation officer.
Yeah.
So I kind of do one of the things that I love doing most is telling young people stories.
Yeah. And
letting young people take ownership of their stories and be proud of their stories.
Yeah.
And that's what I get to do.
You would never think that's a job, and it's amazing, isn't it?
I would
so
never have thought. No, if someone had said to me 5 years ago, okay, yeah, we can offer you the job as impact and evaluation officer.
Yeah.
I would have gone, do you mean like statistics and numbers? Because I'm not good at that stuff.
Yeah.
So I would have been like, I don't think I'm the right person.
Yeah.
But actually, it's so much more than that. It's about literally, just like you asked me my journey just then.
Yeah.
And being able to explain the part that Urban Circle played in my life and my journey. That's what I capture for every single young person that comes through the door. and
that's so good.
not only the young people but the staff.
Yeah.
You know, the impact that youth work has
Yeah.
on staff,
Yeah.
participants, parents, communities,
Yeah.
and the impact it makes to people's lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for young people to take ownership of that.
Yeah.
You know, for young people to get to a point where I'm at and say, actually, do you know what? This is what Urban Circle did for me.
Yeah.
But also, this is what I did as a result
Yeah.
of the tools that I had. Because it's not just what Urban Circle did, it's what Urban Circle gives you
Yeah.
to then move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a very busy few months in the sense of shaping the role and understanding the role. But like, I love it. Like yesterday, I was at our dance studio and I just chilled out with the guys and spoke to them and asked them how they were doing. And you know, I got told like, oh, I've been working on this move for ages, but Binty's really helped me and now I get it. Or I get told like, oh, do you know what, this place makes me feel happy, or I've grown in confidence. Like, I get to be on the front line of hearing the impact of my colleagues and the impact of my organisation. I literally get to hear every day the difference that my team members...
You're literally listening to all the positivity. It must be such a rewarding job to hear about that.
You know, listening to the positivity and learning from the challenges.
Yeah.
You know, because every youth organisation has challenges, and every you know, the youth strategy has challenges as youth workers. We all do. Yeah, yeah. But doing it holistically. Yeah. Not sitting and... It's not about the report. No. It's about what goes into the report, and it's about young people actually telling their story. Yeah. And not just telling it to us, or telling it to funders, or telling it to whoever needs to hear it. Yeah. But actually being able to go out and one day sit here and say, this is the journey that I've been on.
I suppose reminding them as well, isn't it? Actually, this is what you've achieved since being involved with this. All this amazing stuff.
Then being able to look back, like just like I did. Being able to look back and say, that's the moment. Yeah. Or that's what I did there. Or actually, because I did this, I'm now here.
I suppose as well, like I used to get told, especially in my sort of younger years within youth work, you don't see the benefits until years and years later. But actually, with your role, you are seeing the benefits pretty quickly. And I wondered, have you had like any examples of where a young person's progressed so much, where they've had such a negative environment upbringing, and they've come to Urban Circle, and their life chances has just completely flipped upside down, and you know,
I've seen a lot of young people come and have a second chance. Yeah. I always tell people now, that's what I got given. Yeah. As a young person. Yeah, yeah. You know, that's what I got given, and I stand by that wholeheartedly. Yeah, yeah. That actually it was just there is so many barriers out in the wider world that depend on how you look. Yeah. And depend on your physical makeup. Yeah. That doesn't matter here. No. That doesn't matter here. It doesn't... Where you were brought up, what you look like, the environment you're in does not define you. Yeah.
I suppose Newport is a real big representation of that, isn't it? It's very multicultural, diverse.
I love Newport. Yeah. I love Newport.
The class system is all up and down, isn't it? There's some very deprived areas, but then there's some also affluent areas as well.
It's a real community feel, and I think that's one of the reasons I stayed. Yeah. Because I have Urban Circle, but I have the wider team within Urban Circle. So our partners and our communities, and I haven't had any problems finding my place here.
Yeah, do you feel like a family almost?
Yeah. No, but they are my team and my family, hands down. Yeah. They are. I graduated my degree. Lorraine was the second person I phoned.
Really?
In fact, I don't think I even phoned her. I think I was in work, so I told her. Yeah. You know, and we celebrate the highs and we celebrate the lows. I still get excited to come to work. Yeah, yeah. I still literally find myself having moments where I'm like, this is my job. Yeah, yeah. This is actually what I get to do for my job, and funding could go tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'd be there.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly.
But it's interesting because, you know, this is your sort of your one charity. You're also part of another charity, aren't you? And
Little People UK.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you also done a massive event. When was that? That must have been October.
Dwarfism Awareness Month. So we hosted the first Dwarfism Awareness Day at the Senedd.
Yeah.
That was Wales' first official Dwarfism Awareness Day.
And I think that was really significant because I think I was invited. I was in like month 2 of my role. And I thought, I'll go there, you know, that'd be great. And I went through the doors and there was just so many high-end people. It was...
I know.
I couldn't believe it.
Neither could I.
Yeah. It was really good atmosphere though.
No, it was great. And do you know what? It was... So this is my second year vice chair for Little People UK. I've been involved with the charity from a very young age.
Yeah.
I was 13 when I first got involved. But it's probably through Urban Circle that I've found that more advocacy side of what I want to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's through the role modelling of Loren, Nyla, Shai, Mick, Kate, Mabinti, the people that I've been around over the last 5 years, who have also supported me in my advocacy journey.
Yeah.
You know, I am the only little person in USW.
Yeah.
I'm the only little person in Urban Circle.
Yeah.
But never once has a problem that I've faced only been my problem.
They all just completely help.
It's very much a team.
Yeah.
It's very much a team.
I tell you one thing I found really impactful. You've done a bit of footage. I can't remember what you called it, but it was basically from how you would view your sort of day-to-day, the world. And I got to be honest, I found it really impactful. And I was probably quite ignorant to some of the challenges you would have faced. But actually, when I seen what you could see, even I thought, wow, that must be very, very challenging. Yeah. You know?
And it is.
Yeah.
But I think everyone has different challenges that are presented to them in many ways. You know, there are many challenges that our young people face with now that I never had to grow up and face.
Yeah, it's a very positive way of looking at it.
So, not always.
Yeah.
I have grown this outlook through my youth work development.
Do you think you offer, you know, with Little People UK, do you put the youth work into it a little bit? Because
100%. 100%. I very much lead with my youth work values.
Yeah.
And there's a lot from both charities, so Urban Circle and Little People UK, that I take into each.
Yeah.
So I take the young people that we work with at Urban Circle, I don't relate to them in the sense of race or culture or ethnicity.
Yeah.
But I do relate to being different.
Yeah.
And I do relate to having barriers because of your physical makeup.
Yeah.
So I bring that into my youth work role.
Yeah. And
then the empathy and the kindness and the meeting individuals where they are.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff I take into my role in Little People UK.
Yeah.
So
they must love you for that.
professionally, they are both stronger because I have had experience in both.
Yeah.
But also personally, I always say that I'm very, very lucky because Little People UK to a lot of people is their safe space.
Yeah.
It is their safe space where they go and they get to be themselves and they get to be around people who empower them and encourage them. That's what Little People UK does. That's my job as the vice chair, is to create that space.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm really lucky because I come home to Urban Circle.
Yeah.
So I come home to an organisation with a culture that already does all of that.
Yeah.
That already embraces what I can do, supports me in what I can't do.
They support you with the Little People UK as well, don't they? So it's just
and Little People UK love them.
Yeah.
So Loren and some of the team attended last year's convention.
Yeah.
They're coming again this year.
I always remember because at the event, all I could hear was Lorraine literally giving you like loads of praise. It was wicked. I thought such good encouragement. That's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm incredibly lucky to have the support that I've had.
Yeah.
And to have been, firstly, a student
Yeah.
of Urban Circles and a young person, but now a staff member.
Yeah. I think here in Wales we're very good at recognising talent, so I think that's probably what Mick saw and you think we can't let you go back to Portishead. We'll have to block all the trains. You cannot leave us.
You've got to stay. You've
Yeah.
got to stay here.
I'm glad you have, because I think you offer something completely innovative and different. I think going back to one of your earlier comments, and it's something that I always resonate with when you said about that sort of empathy and kindness. You know, it's as a society sometimes, we find ourselves, remind ourselves we have to be empathetic and kind, but that's what youth work does, isn't it?
Yeah,
we do that. It's in us, isn't it?
That's all you've got to be. Just be kind to someone.
Yeah.
That's what Urban Circle did to me.
Yeah.
To begin with.
Yeah.
Is they were just kind.
Yeah, because you were saying that like you sort of like you knew they were there. You sort of like in passing would speak to each other. Those little bits helped, didn't they? Those little bits of kindness, and then all of a sudden you landed with this lovely job, and that's
5 years later.
5 years later, yeah.
It literally, there is so much value in just having a conversation.
Yeah.
Or just being kind, or just being.
Yeah.
Being there for someone.
Absolutely.
Just being, and I think encouraging someone to be the best version of themselves. That's what I'm most grateful to Mick and Kate for.
Yeah, yeah.
They knew that I was going to be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
In Wales.
Yeah, yeah.
And they didn't force it. They enabled it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's funny you should say about Lorraine at the Senate. Because I did my very first presentation about dwarfism.
Yeah, yeah.
With Urban Circle.
Yeah.
2 years prior.
Wow.
So Urban Circle facilitated a Dwarfism Awareness Day seminar here at the University of South Wales.
That's really good.
That was my first time ever speaking, and that was a real example of a youth work organisation meeting a young person where they are.
Yeah.
Because I had a need to be accepted and to make people understand, and they facilitated it.
Yeah.
So getting to stand in front of them 2 years later at the Welsh Parliament building and have them there, have my tutors there, Mick, Kate, Lorraine, Nismo, have the people who were there my days as a student, that was a real full circle for me.
Yeah, and you also had politicians there as well, and just such good support, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was really, it provided hope.
Yeah.
Of actually, with the right people and the right support and the right spaces.
Yeah.
Actually, these societal barriers that we see.
Yeah.
They don't have to be there.
No. Are you driven to do another one? Because I know with the last one you were like, you're gonna do another one, but do you feel more G'd up now? Do you think?
I've got a lot that I want to do.
Yeah.
I have got a lot that I want to do.
So where do you see yourself in the future? So you've got your sort of your voluntary role, which you spend a lot of time on. You're very committed to. You also got your day job, which you squeeze. You've got two very significant, substantial things that you do. Where do you see yourself moving forward, as Danielle?
Oh goodness.
It's a big question.
It is a big question.
It's hard, isn't it?
On a Monday morning.
I know. Or is there anything you want to be? Is there anything you think I haven't done yet, but I would like to do?
I'd love to do a podcast.
You should.
Of my own.
Yeah. Is that like an Urban Circle podcast or?
I don't know. No, I think me.
Yeah.
Kind of talking about the things that people don't talk about when you grow up, like being different. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I'd love that. That's kind of like a personal goal that I have.
That would be wicked.
to start normalising some of the things that I spoke about at the Senate and about like in those present, just normalising differences.
Yeah. And do you think by normalising it, that then helps with accessibility and acceptance
because
as well?
Because it becomes part of day to day.
Yeah.
And it becomes part of the regularity, and it's not a like, it just gets embedded into, like, universal build. Don't build it for one person, build it for everyone.
Everyone, yeah.
If you build it for everyone, no one misses out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's a personal goal of mine. I think professionally, I don't know. I've got a lot.
Yeah.
I've got a lot.
I suppose you enjoying the here and now. I'm just enjoying the moment, and is that?
Do you know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think when
that's nice. That is. When
your here and now is something that you didn't envision it being.
Yeah.
You have to take stock, and you have to.
Yeah.
You have to appreciate where you are. I've got loads of stuff I want to do. Yeah. And I am very career driven. Yeah. But I'm also very grateful for where I am.
You hear a lot of people, as soon as they get the degree, they want to aspire to be a manager or, something higher. But actually, it's really good to recognise the journey that you're currently on and enjoy the time that you've got with young people. And I often do think back, and I wish I took stock actually of what I was doing with young people. And I know other people have said the same, but if you're recognising that already, that you're almost onto a winner there, aren't you? You're recognising I need to take stock of where I am now and enjoy it.
With both organisations, there's stuff I want to do. There's changes I want to make. Yeah. But I also want to. I don't want to look back and say I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't want to look back in 5 years' time.
Yeah.
And have achieved all of these things that I wanted to achieve. Yeah. But not enjoyed the process. My biggest thing, if I really had to narrow it down, the best part of what I do in both roles is to enable opportunities. Yeah. And I think that's what drives me, is I want people who look like me to have all of the same opportunities as people who look like you. Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot that I want to do, but I'm also very aware and very grateful for what has been done. Yeah. And I don't want to ever get to a point where I lose that gratitude. Yeah. Especially to the people who helped me. Yeah. Especially to the people which have me, which is why I've. Yeah, yeah. Which is why I speak with so much ease of my team and of my tutors. Yeah. Because I hold that gratitude.
It's very humbling to hear you say that, to be honest. It's really nice. But before I let you go, I've got 2 questions, and it's again about the future. But I'll start with the more, not unpleasant, but is there anything, so thinking about the future, is there anything that you're apprehensive about, scared about? Is there anything you think, do you know what, I'm not liking the way this is going, or I don't know, you might be anxious about something?
You're throwing a lot of deep questions at me today, Daryl. I wouldn't say worried. Okay. Just more aware. Yeah. Of organisations getting the recognition that they deserve. Yeah. So the wider people, like the people that you mentioned who were at the Senate. Yeah, yeah. Understanding the need for your urban circles. Yeah. Understanding the need for not just Little Pip UK, lots of dwarfism and disability charities, not just ours. But those sorts of provisions and organisations are so needed. Yeah. And we, as a wider cannot lose sight of that.
They're almost like your underdogs sometimes, aren't they? They're not... when you think of charities, you think the real big ones like NSPCC, even Dogs Trust. They're massive charities, but actually you got Urban Circle Newport, and Little People UK. They're small, but have a massive, massive impact.
Yeah. And I think we can't lose sight of the people doing the heart work. That's what we call it at Urban Circle, is the heart work.
Heart work. I like that. That's the first time I heard that. I like that.
The heart work. Yeah. You can't...
I love that.
You can't lose sight of that.
The heart work, yeah. I'll remember that.
The large institutions are great. Yeah. But actually sometimes you just got to go on the ground and see the people who are there. Yeah. not with the big buildings or the big companies or all of the people who are in the communities.
Yeah.
We can't lose sight of them. So
No.
it's not necessarily a worry, but just and I think being vice chair of Little PPK has helped me understand this need that actually we have to be seen.
Have to be seen, which was one of your biggest messages in the event you did in the Senate. I suppose then to end on a positive after my last belter of a question was, so the next question's around, is there anything you're excited about, anything you think, I'm so looking forward to this, or something you think, this would really change youth work or change the way I am, or what is there anything that you can think of that you're buzzed about?
Changing the way that we evaluate youth work.
Yeah.
Changing the way that we measure impact.
Do you think I think you might be a pioneer in terms of like showing that? Like, do you think you'd have an opportunity to showcase to other organisations, say that this is what we do and this is...
If I could, I would. And I think being a young person who has gone through being supported by a youth organisation very much equipped me to see that it's not just about your festivals that get the big crowds or your theatre shows that get the mass participation. It's actually about the individual stories and the individual impacts that you have. Like today, now, we've spoken about my story. I'm just one young person.
Yeah.
Put all of those young people in a room and listen to their stories.
Yeah.
That's the impact that youth work has.
Yeah.
That's what should be being measured. That's where the funding needs to go.
Yeah.
But doing it in a way where young people actually feel confident to sit in rooms like this and say, this is what I've done.
Yeah.
Or to be able to tell their story through it, dance, through film, through me, whichever way they wanted to tell it. From a professional point of view, I hope we can do that. I hope we can make an impact on youth-led evaluation.
Yeah. Well, there we are. Danielle, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for joining us. And in a couple of weeks' time, we'll have a conversation about some of the things you mentioned around impact as well. So
sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan. Cheers, all.
For updates on new podcasts, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the notification button. If you want to be featured on the podcast, email ets@wlga.gov.uk.